Perfect.
Typical disgusting display.
Oh, tonight we got them. Goldy, the Sulk, and JC.
The typical disgusting display. And it starts right now.
Hello, welcome back to another episode of A Typical Disgusting Display, a podcast for writers by writers who hate writing. And we're living in a Boston Celtics world, Goldy. I know how excited you were about that.
Are you back
raised
on?
another banner last night.
I mean, the bubble championship will always hold the crown for most meaningless.
Yes.
But what an anticlimactic nothing championship where they faced just a depleted Miami squad. And then they beat a Cleveland team whose best player was injured.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
And then they eked it out against an Indiana team also whose star was injured.
They swept them.
No, didn't they lose
Yeah,
one?
no, they swept Indiana.
Right, but they almost lost every game.
Right.
And then they kind of like, we're going to, put a convincing dot on the I with Dallas. But then game 4, they get blown out by like 50.
Yeah,
It's just
like
the least
they have
impressive.
lost in points, overall points to Dallas because
Wow.
of that game
Yeah.
in the series. Yeah, I agree. I don't know if it's just because I'm getting older, but back when the Patriots started this run in 2001, I was never more excited, so engaged for like 15 years, and then I feel like maybe we've
This
won
is an
too
old
much.
guy opinion, but I believe it's also true. That when the games become like two law firms on their lunch break just heaving 3-pointers and it all goes down to 3-point variance, as opposed to what used to be a very intense physical
Chess
inside
match.
game where you're fighting
Yeah.
for baskets, that it's not exciting.
Right.
It doesn't seem as engaging because everyone's just chucking it up like we were playing a show game.
Yeah, I agree. There was something just the passion is gone. But
The thrill is
congratulations to
gone.
Jason Tatum and the Boston Celtics, because they did do it. They're hoisting it. We passed LA. That's all I got to say. But here's another little news flash. I'd like to hit you with you two with this from time to time. So this is from my Chartable Digest that sends us
Ooh,
data about
right.
the show, and this is where I get like Yemen or whatever.
Yes.
So this week
They're just
Usually-
making it up, by the way. You can't verify anything. So they're just saying shit and charging you for it.
No, actually, it's free because I never signed up. So they send you this tantalizing thing that's like part of what you can
Okay.
see, but like I would need
Oh.
to pay to get more.
Right.
So anyway, usually there's either none or one where we're charting somewhere. So this week, I don't want to. There are four
What?
countries.
happening?
So let me go through them from most embarrassing down
Not
to
embarrassed.
best.
Not embarrassing. Don't say that.
If you want to say that we're number 235 in Ecuador, then that might be embarrassing. That could
Overall?
be a family dinner.
Is that
like-
overall or is it
No, comedy. These are all
my
comedy.
God.
Comedy. 235 in comedy in Ecuador.
Where
So
is Dr. Mario Ferrari traveling?
He's back.
okay. But so now watch us climb up the charts.
Okay.
Number 169.
Ooh.
Somewhere we've been before. The Netherlands. They're
Ooh,
back.
we
The
love them.
Netherlands love us.
We love them.
Number 3. Number 105.
Ooh.
And this is exciting, actually. In Italy.
Oh.
So
Then
with
maybe
ciao, Italia. So now suddenly
Mario
our,
Ferrari.
our podcast trip is coalescing. We're starting to see a train route here.
Wow.
But so 105 in Italy. And then, last but not least, number 40.
Oh, wow.
Okay? Number 40
Okay.
in the Czech Republic.
Oh, wow.
Huh.
So
I have to-
what do we
That's
make of what do we make of these disparate nations here?
That's
Ecuador,
so
the
fascinating.
Netherlands, Italy, the Czech Republic. Those countries have very little in common. I
Yeah,
see
that's
no
true.
common threads, no rhyme or reason.
Maybe Family Guy's big there? there, or I don't know.
I don't know. No, I don't know. But the 40 in the so okay, the other numbers are whatever and could literally be like a group of 20 people listening to it.
not
But number
even.
40 feels like that might be closer to 100 people.
Yes,
Maybe
that's
It's like,
true.
when they used to do the top 40 songs, and then they're like, number 40.
Yeah.
And you would go,
Never heard this song in my life.
It's by the Tubes, but it's not She's a Beauty. Like it was
it's the
an
ballad.
obscure thing.
wait.
Obscure
First joke
thing.
of the day. First joke of the day.
It's
Like
a
it's
ballad by the Tubes.
Our Love's in Jeopardy guy, but his B-side.
Yeah. He Greg Kinn.
Yeah,
By the way,
Men
that was-
Without Hats,
know
but
these
not
names?
Safety Dance.
That's very
That's
funny.
us.
A flock of seagulls, not,
But not-
Iran.
Yeah, that's
It's
number
Iraq.
40. That's what that is.
Iraq. I heard that. Yeah, and it's not like sometimes you're lucky if you listen to those top 40 countdowns and the number 40 is like a former number one that you're just catching on the way out. So it's like,
Yes.
Don't Stop Believin' on its way
Right.
out at number 40.
Right.
But no. So for some reason, but we've made the top 40. We can
That's
say we're
pretty
a top
cool
40
in
hit
Italy.
in the Czech Republic.
Wow.
Oh, why did I think
yeah.
Italy? You're right.
No,
Czech,
Italy was
Czech.
105.
Okay.
Not terrible.
No,
not
at
terrible.
all.
235 in Ecuador is insane. It's almost like I'd prefer they left that off. It just seems like better to be unrated
It's like
than to be like
insulting.
6 kids in a dorm at Ecuador.
I mean, we should find out what 234 was and just try to start a rivalry with them.
Yes.
Knock them
that's so
off.
great. I wish I could. I'm sure there's a way to find that out. Find out who 234 is, target them with a
Yeah.
smear campaign.
Well, I will
Yeah.
say, according to my Spotify app, that for tracking, they're doing this beta thing for our podcasts. That in Ecuador, we for our last episode, 8
Yeah.
streams in Ecuador.
8?
Yes.
Hey,
But
so
that's-
I'm close.
that
It's a
is-
family dinner.
Right, and that's just on Spotify. So I don't know what it is on like the total. I could look it up, but I won't.
God, 8. I wish we didn't have that real number. It was more fun to like pretend
Sorry.
it was little, but imagine it was really 2,000. Nope, 8.
Well, I'll say based on personal experience, if you have a book and it sells 1 copy, it will vault you on Amazon from over a millionth to about 450,000.
Oh,
Wow. Oh, that's not as far as
I thought you were going to say
thought. Not as
450.
far up.
No, but I mean, when you look at the top sellers, like everything outside the top 10, even like that, say you were like, I have the 80th selling book, which is kind of impressive.
Yeah.
You're talking about 15 copies or something.
Oh, I
Yeah.
see. Oh, that's
Yep.
interesting. Okay.
yeah.
That's
All
good
right,
perspective
well,
there.
something to shoot for, and we'll figure out who number 234 is in
Start a
Ecuador, and
rivalry.
we'll go hard at them. And now some segment that they're going AP for in Prague. It's a part of the show we like to call Johnny Jokes.
Well, from Hollywood, here's Johnny's.
Go! I once again
Excellent.
almost quit comedy writing these this week. They're wearying me to look at. Here we go. 72-year-old Bill Belichick is dating Jordan Hudson, a 24-year-old cheerleader. Yeah.
What?
And while the couple admits they don't have much to talk about, they've found common ground when she lets him play with her YA tittles. YA tittles.
We'll be hearing more about this.
Yeah, I figured, and probably better things, I would hope.
Titillating tittles.
I would hope. But let's get into serious international news. Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu has disbanded the country's war cabinet. The leader says that the move does not mark a shift in strategy. Rather, his wife just needed the cabinet space for serving trays or something.
Or
These are all
something.
terrible.
Don't give
As
up before
advertised.
the end.
Donald Trump. Have
Heard
you
of
heard
him?
Donald Trump challenged President Biden to a cognitive test, but then confused the name of the doctor who administers it.
Wow.
When told about this, Biden laughed, then coughed a little too long, and everyone got scared.
That's a good one.
Thank you. See, I need to go to a totally new form of joke to have any kind of success. All right, finally. Well, the U.S. has set a new record for ticketed concert attendance as over 110,000 fans in Texas were entertained by country star George Strait. And in Gay Pride Month, no less.
God.
Goldy, please. Please. Go.
Can't help you there, my
Just
friend.
go. Go.
That was the closer?
I didn't know what order to do it in.
Oh, my God.
I'm telling you, it was just a mishmash.
Mish.
Wow. Well, 72-year-old football legend Bill Belichick is now dating a 24-year-old cheerleader. In fact, she has a new cheer. Hip, hip, her help. Bill fell and broke his hip.
Shit, that was good. Hip, hip, her help.
Last night, the Boston Celtics became world champions, vanquishing the Dallas Mavericks. And this is nice. Even though it was a school night, Bill Belichick let his girlfriend stay up till the end. That's chalk.
Two.
At a recent summit, various world leaders confided they thought President Biden was a dazed shadow of his former self. Biden was reportedly so weak, he required the help of 2 people just to fall down.
Nice.
This weekend, Hillary Clinton made a surprise appearance at the Tony Awards. Oh, sorry, I'm getting word that was actually Mrs. Doubtfire.
Did not look good.
No.
Aw.
And finally, RFK Jr.'s presidential campaign is running out of money.
Aww.
Yeah, the cash crunch is so bad.
How bad is it?
Yeah, the cash crunch is so bad he may soon have to start charging the worm in his head rent.
Well, you brought the class grade up to a C. Let's put it that way. All right. I may be knocked off the weed mountain today.
Yeah, I think you are.
Really?
Mount Cushmore.
I love that.
First joke of the day.
I know, I almost did it.
It's a good one.
Mount
Yeah.
kill him on brain cells.
Okay.
All right, we're warmed
Yeah.
up. Let's do it. Oh, Franz, boy, we are opening Pandora's box here with our guest today. You've heard about him if you're a fan of this podcast. He is
You've even seen him skulking in the background if you've seen video,
Absolutely.
as though his sort of slow prance is invisible behind JC. That somehow it makes it less egregious that he's showing.
In fairness, if you look at his hair, it blends right in with the paint.
Right. That's actually
He's partially ghostly as he goes by, but he's also known to us and to the fans as like, who is this phantom great spouse that JC has? She's always gushing about in high notes. Does such a person actually exist? Well, he does. And he's here with us today. He's a fantastic musician and music producer. He's actually got a song that is dropping today.
It dropped.
He's played with so many great people, Modest
Legend.
Yahoo, Danny Elfman. The list goes on and on.
It's so
and we're going
long.
to talk to him about that rock star experience. Ladies, Franz, gentlemen, welcome, Stu Brooks. Stu, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me. How you doing, guys?
Wow. He came in with 10
the
energy.
I gotta say
I
already,
was wondering about that.
there's an odd dynamic at play because if my wife were here, I would think she would be sitting with me,
Right.
and that we wouldn't be in 2 different areas of the
Yeah, what
house.
happened there? What happened there?
Well, I
Oh,
am
why
an
isn't
audio
my wife here?
Oh,
She's yeah.
she's next.
We'll have her on. That'll be our last episode.
Cut that out. No, leave that in.
Yeah, no, it's, I'm an audio engineer.
Isolation.
He was like, we should sit next together. Like, no, there'll be bleed into the mic when we talk, and I won't be able
Right.
to edit it. So
Something. Yeah.
I
wanted to hear the Hotel California solo where
I
you're
know,
back to back.
I was thinking, of a Crosby and Nash kind of energy that you guys are going to be harmonizing your answers.
Oh,
But yes,
could.
you are
Next time.
you are in the same residence right now. You are.
Yeah, he's in the studio.
she's directly above me. Yeah.
Yeah. you
Oh,
could-
that's what she thinks.
And I mean, this is just we're at the greatest danger ever of an HR disaster with
Well,
all
I'm married to
nepotism
her, so, and you guys are
sex
okay
going
with
on.
me. But actually, this has been I'm interrogating you. Yeah. I want to.
Tables turn.
Yeah. So you like working with my wife, eh?
You got us.
Live.
Damn it. Yeah,
Yeah.
we do kind of parade JC around
Yeah.
like a
She's
human
pretty great,
shield
huh?
for us. Yeah.
So
No, she's the only
Yeah.
face of this podcast
Yeah.
that's worth seeing.
That-
No, I don't
that's
think so.
yeah. No one wants to see the other faces.
but you guys look great. Actually, your shave looks good, bud.
Oh,
Thanks.
thank you.
All of
You guys, I'm noticing both have fantastic teeth. Was that the initial attraction that you
Who?
found? You each found someone with as great teeth as you have. I mean, it's
I'm
amazing.
flattered. I have coffee and
flattered.
weed. I don't know what's going on. Like a stained
Wait,
city.
wait, just to put that weed in context, it is 8:30 in the morning.
It is 8:30.
So this guy Stu is legit. Let's jump into that a little
Yeah,
bit because
okay.
you
Well,
know I'm a
just one
fellow
thing, it's-
traveler. Yeah,
those
go
things
This
ahead.
is
aren't-
legit.
Those things aren't fighting each other at all. The coffee and the weed. Like, are you
They
trying to
need
get
fight.
yourself to zero?
You need to let them fight, Goldie. That's part of
Sorry.
the process.
That
Isn't
is,
it
yeah,
called
it is.
the hippie
Please go
speedball or
I'll
something?
stop jumping in.
No, so
you're
when
right.
when did you start smoking weed, Stu?
Oh.
Partaking.
Not JC.
I remember it was like in a blizzard.
I was early.
You're
on the
from Canada, so that tracks.
It was like in a partially built house, like in a blizzard on Lake Ontario, smoking hashish out of a.
Were you on the run? What the hell kind of circumstance
Isn't
is that?
hashish like
No,
the cocaine of marijuana?
Kind of.
It's indica, so it makes you a little body buzz. It makes you
Indica,
a little
indica.
relaxed. It's relaxing. It's not so much of a head thing, but I mean, I went to a private school, much like yours, I think, Alec. Like it was
Yeah.
like all boys for 100 years, and then like we were just suffering.
Yeah.
You needed some way to ease the pain. Yeah, no, boarding school is a very good in for weed. Like
Yeah.
that's
I could see that.
something that you just
Because
it's
like,
part
you
of the
don't have to
curriculum.
go anywhere; they just come to your room.
Yeah,
You just
it's
like
just there.
dime bags.
you can-
of,
you
of
can-
hashish
yeah, you-
and
You wander into somebody's room and it's happening. And
How do
then
you
suddenly
get
you're-
hashish in, I guess, the 1980s
yeah,
or
I think
1990s?
hey, it was the 90s.
He's a little younger than I am.
No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, it was coming from Lebanon and Morocco, and I think my source was across the street from the school. So I went off campus
That guy's a
and grabbed a
genius.
brick of hash and weed, and I just kind of sell it out of the room.
Oh,
Wait,
were-
you're dealing now.
You're in charge of the hash. That's even cooler.
Yeah.
Wait, you instantly, your first time you started dealing, like right away?
Well, it was. Oh wait, I guess I might have jumped ahead a bit, but I went to a boarding school, right? So then, like, eventually, like, I had to pay for my habit, right? So then, the
Where do I come up with $20 a week?
Well, it was more like I wasn't profiting, you know. I was
right.
I was making. That was my problem. I was like smoking the supply, which was
Yeah.
I was not a good dealer. I was a bad dealer. I was a consumer.
Well, now you've
more
gotten
than
it under
anything, yeah.
control.
Well, yeah. And now I'm an American
endorsed-
citizen, so I can. I'm a Canadian citizen. I'm an American citizen. I can
Yes.
I could be a misdemeanor.
I could get a
misdemeanist.
You could be a misdemeanor. Yes.
And I feel like. Actually, I feel like a little underwhelmed, but I also feel like I could talk about anything. now.
Yeah, you won't get kicked out. And you know, you have an endorsement now, so you don't have to
I have a
worry
weed
about
endorsement. Yeah, let's shout it out. Tradecraft
that's
Farms.
the
Tradecraft
dream.
Farms, man.
Tradecraft
Yeah.
Farms.
I got to shout those guys out because they've been enabling me for like 3-4 years now.
I now want them to sponsor this Tradecraft Farms, folks.
mean- I
if
bet-
you want a steady buzz all day long, just like rocker Stu Brooks, try Tradecraft Farms.
Yeah, they'll get you some weed, bro.
I think that they might. They're so cool.
Oh,
But
yeah.
JC, you don't really smoke, or do you?
I don't.
No.
The odd couple.
She's been
I
the
God, this
used
is
to.
the new odd couple.
No,
no,
because I
no.
used to. But
Look, this is California sober. I've been 22 years no alcohol. Janice has not had a drink in 22 years either. And
Sounds like something happened 22 years
but
ago.
then
9/11.
was it? Oh yeah, 9/11.
You
Actually,
guys
that was
did
a-
9/11? You were so drunk?
Wait.
That's the headline. Use that as the asset.
Wait. Did I?
Well, so okay, that's California sober. I love that term. By the way,
Right. So she's like always like when I was in New York and not making so much money, and she was doing just fine. She'd be buying me weed and
I'm an enabler,
cigarettes,
guys.
and
I'm an enabler.
she wants me to be happy, man. Like she's like, do you have enough weed tonight? Oh, can we play Call of Duty?
Oh God.
Like
JC,
you gotta marry her.
Yeah, I mean that's already great. She's buying you weed and cigarettes in New York City and wants to play video games with you. That sounds
It's
rough.
pretty good. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Let's skip back.
That's where I'm coming from.
Let's skip back a little bit because you're from Canada. And I think, like most Americans, we kind of think of Canada as like one big place where everyone's the same and everything is the same. But what part of Canada are you from? And here's something that I never hear asked that I want you to answer afterwards. Tell me something that sucks about Canada.
That's a great
Okay. Yeah. I lived there from 1978 to 95 or 6.
Yeah.
Then I moved down to Boston.
But where in Canada were you?
I was born in Toronto and then moved to the suburbs like when I was 7 or 8, a place called Oakville.
Okay.
We have a
And
listener.
do people from Toronto kind of look down their noses at other people from Canada because they know they're from like the New York of Canada?
I think there's a dynamic between Vancouver and Toronto historically, and also just French-speaking Canada, like Montreal and Toronto. A little bit, it's all like hockey related, I think. But then there's like
Totally.
there is a
Were you
history
a
of
hockey
separatism.
player as a youth?
100%. Yeah, like the reason why I went to that school initially was like because they had a hockey team,
You mean
like hockey
Appleby.
program. Yeah. And,
What was your position?
I was center at a younger age, and then I moved to left wing.
Oh, so you're
But
a scorer.
I was a playmaker. I'd get a lot of assists.
Yeah, you
They
need
put
that
me
guy
in with
too.
the older group because I was kind of dominating with the younger group. I had landed on that cusp,
Yeah.
And then so when the age bracket cusp,
Yeah.
so I was dominating at the younger age, and then they put me forward, and then I was like the smallest guy on the team and didn't
Right, and that was
excel as
tough.
much. But we'd play like the kids of other hockey legends,
Oh, wow.
Like Ken Dryden is like a legendary goalie in Canada. I'd be playing hockey against his son, and he'd be like in the audience with my dad, and they'd be shooting the shit. My dad went to school with Ken Dryden as well, and was a really good hockey player as well.
Nice.
But didn't they formed a baseball team basically around you? Is that true or is that not
That's
true?
true. I was a good baseball player and played for the town, and then they had a softball team at this school.
Weird.
So are you still as athletic? You're very slim, but do you still skate at all, or are you in some
I
kind
like
of softball
skiing.
league?
I haven't skated in years, but I love yoga, and I don't really run around all that much because I had some low back stuff 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
So I'm a low impact kind of guy.
Right. Except for when you play bass.
Yeah, then he's
Right.
rocking.
High impact.
Then he's all Woodstock 99 up there.
God, you mentioned bass, and he literally perks up.
Yeah.
I
it's like-
know he did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bass.
I play bass.
Yeah, 40
so te-
hertz.
Tell me something that stinks about Canada that we don't know.
yeah.
Like not just that it's cold.
I
you know?
mean, yeah, the weather is pretty grim in the winter. What stinks about Canada?
it might be nothing because
Yeah.
I feel like that's kind of what Americans think.
Yeah, I mean,
But you live
think
here,
they're-
so something must be up.
yeah. Well, I moved here for a music career, in my dreams. But
Yeah.
and Canada has like less of a population than California, I believe, or similar.
Wow.
Wow.
So it's like there's a lower ceiling there. I could only think of good things about Canada, but then the one thing that just pops off is like how they need to apologize to the
Native Americans.
the natives. I think they're trying to, but there's more and more history being uncovered right now, which is pretty gross. And like, we were never really taught any of that.
no.
How many generations Canadian is your family?
Pretty deep, actually. Well, my grandfather on my mom's side is born in Scotland, but on my dad's side, it's several generations. I think to like 1860s or something, 1880s.
Wow.
Wow. So you go back. You
Yeah.
go back. We're not gonna implicate your family in any of those atrocities, but it's possible.
I absolutely realize, like, my parents have, like, should we even talk about this? My dad, okay, so I'm named
My
after,
dad, that's not going back very far.
well, my
who are you
dad's
named
very
after?
proud of his family, you know.
Yeah.
And so he'll share like newspaper clippings of some stuff on the family, and like there's this one guy, Louis B. Stewart,
That's who
who
you're
was a
named after.
cartographer, and there's like a planetarium in his name at University of Toronto because he had mapped out a lot of Western Canada. And in this particular newspaper clipping, my dad shared with the family, like, he's so proud. It's sweet. It's all love.
Yeah.
But in there, it says something like he fended off the Indians, you know, in Banff, Alberta. And it's like, red flag. and
That's like fighting them in Aspen. Banff is a very fancy ski resort now.
It is, yeah. He was like the
There's like a whole
he
trail.
was the
named after
custodian there. Like he was in charge of it. He actually named a few mountain ranges in his own name.
him. Yeah, he totally
Wow.
did. So like
His
Louis
name-
B. Stewart.
Is his name
Stewart.
Laurentian?
No. But you know, that's like some pride, like, and then like we're reading more into it, and it's like, damn, like that's not good.
You know, growing up, my dad's father was a roofer who came from Russia, and he would employ Canadians. And so the stereotype was like, you know, you pay them on Friday and they'll have blown it all by Saturday on booze. So my dad still held this sort of sentiment that he's like, you know, those Canadians are drunks.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
It's based on these Canadians
I've never
from,
heard
you know,
that.
1928.
Yeah, that's not wrong. Like I grew up in that kind of thing, and like I just imagine like hockey benches with whiskey and cigars and shit.
Right. Like that's normal.
Like in Boston Garden or Toronto, you know, like major NHL players, like that's how they did it, and they're all Canadians
Right.
at the
That's
time,
true.
you know. And then, so where was your dad?
In Massachusetts, but
In
I
Massachusetts?
guess like
There you
they
go.
come down,
Yeah,
you know, for labor purposes.
They'd
They used to
come
cross
down
the
to-
border
Very cool.
the other way.
Yeah,
You know,
That's
They'd come
so
down to
weird.
the deep south of New England for a summer job.
That's funny. That's my old joke. I'd be like, yeah, I'm from the deep south of Ontario. Yeah. Because I play like low bass and shit, you know, so that's. But
Well, so
But,
let's talk about music here. So when did you first start developing an interest in music, and was the bass your first instrument?
my first instrument was piano. When I was like 4 or 5 years old, my mom made me
Yeah.
piano
Right.
lessons. I later like thank her for that, but every Tuesday I had a headache or something, you know. Like I didn't like it.
Right.
Yeah, so it's
probably-
pre-weed.
Right. Totally.
100%. They should have been teaching us different repertoire. But anyway,
Yeah.
then ninth grade, I guess my neighbor had a bass, and my closest friends had a band without a bass player. So I was like, oh, you know, I put two and two together. And when I first touched my neighbor's bass, it just came very naturally. And he actually lent it to me for the weekend, and then like within a few weeks, it was Christmas, I think, and that was the gift I got from my mother
Was there
and
a
father.
teacher, or was like, because I saw that Sex Pistols series, and I guess it was one of them. Was it Steve Jones? Like, apparently he just took a guitar and all of a sudden he just emerged, kind of knowing how to play. Was that you,
Yeah.
or was there instruction?
There was some instruction at that school that I went to. There was a good music program. There was a teacher that came in from off campus and did private lessons, but there was also a good like jazz program at that school as well. And they kind of set me on my way. I was able to realize I did PSATs, you know, in Canada, those are just like to help maybe find some American colleges, but they don't really do SATs there.
Right.
And the only mail I got was from Berkeley. So that kind of set me on my path.
Oh, Berkeley
And
College of Music.
So
Not UC.
education, music education was definitely like really important because my parents were resistant to it. I was very like, I'd go into obsession phases. So I was obsessed about baseball for a while, and then I moved on to the music, and my parents were worried that this was another one of those obsessions. And so when I got some interest from Berkeley, that kind of gave me like direction, and then I just went all into bass.
That's awesome. And did you have an idea from when you were first playing bass, like the kind of music that you preferred? Like, were you ever stuck in a band where you were doing lame covers of, tired classic rock and you're like, I got to get out of this. I want to do different
Hell
stuff?
No. Thankfully, I've never been in that position. If I feel like I'm nearing that, I get out so fast, and
I love that.
I shut down.
What's the most because I know
you'll just play E.
Bass solo, E, 20 minutes.
That would have been a good Spinal Tap scene. So I know you've played with lots of different cool people. Who have you played with who you feel like is maybe the most commercial? Not that you didn't enjoy playing with them, but you kind of had that feeling of like, oh, maybe I'm pushing a little more towards commercial kind of stuff here.
When I first got some credits that were like valid for immigration, for example, so excited, and that would be 50 Cent, and G Unit, and that at the time that was like very commercial.
Yes.
Totally. And very cool for a bass player.
And is that they have what they want you to play, and you're sort of either given sheet music or someone comes up to you and goes, we're thinking doom deen doo 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 doo, or are they saying like, hey man, here's the lyrics, here's the guitar, can you come up with a part?
I mean, that could come up, but for G Unit, I was clearing samples kind of. So they would have samples from like Bill Withers or something like that.
Right.
Something they couldn't, or they didn't want to pay for the license, so they'd get me and other musicians to make an interpolation of it, or replay it all together and just have it so it's not a copyright infringement.
Right.
And then I wouldn't get publishing for that because I'd be copying something else.
What about So Seductive? He played on So Seductive with Tony Yayo and 50 Cent. This was a big thing for us.
That was huge. Firstly, it was the week that Janice and I crossed over from Friends into romance.
Oh, first kiss.
No, I swear to God, it was like the luckiest week ever. Life-changing week. It was August in 2004 because Janice and I had been friends for 6 or 7 years, and eventually that week we kissed, And then a couple of days later, she goes to Canada for a wedding, and I couldn't go for whatever reason.
Because you're lucky.
No, maybe, exactly. Maybe it was immigration reasons. But that week I got, 2 days later, I did that session with Tony Yayo, who had just come out of jail. Remember he was in jail for passport fraud or something for a year or two?
So he was never hotter than at that moment.
It's true.
Right. Well, because 50 Cent blew up while he was in jail, and Eminem had free Yayo shirts at MTV Music Awards and stuff. And so I sort of knew who they were, and I went into the studio and I was like, okay, this is exciting because this guy, he's got his stylist. He just got $1 million bonus in his bank account and a Bentley, and all these clothes are coming at him. And he's like, I'm the real star. And I'm like, this 27-year-old, I'm wearing my Warped Tour outfit.
26,
Yeah, I was wearing my tight black jeans. And
that's right.
I didn't I sort of stuck out there, but it was such a vibe. And then when we got out of there, it ended up being a big hit and got me the credits that I needed to get my immigration and stuff.
Yeah, they were your sponsor. They were your sponsor for your visa.
Can I ask, because you mentioned the Warped Tour outfit.
Fitty was your sponsor?
Yes.
Sorry, go ahead.
When you go into these sessions, is there some thought beforehand of, I want to look a certain way, and I actually kind of want to be pigeonholed by my appearance, so they think that they're getting this experience that they want to be paying for? Or is it just whatever, man, I'm just going to dress how I want to dress?
Yeah, I consider that on a daily basis.
Yeah.
But
not
how
back
I
then.
dress. Right now, I got dressed. I'm wearing business pants right now.
The one thing we can't see.
But he's in it. He's 24/7.
Pants, man.
Your business hoodie.
Yeah, chosen, well-chosen
French.
hoodie.
No. Yeah, because actually there was an experience with G Unit where I felt like my pants were notably tight.
They're tighter than
remarkably tight. I heard about it, in other words, and
they were looking at your
I'm
pants.
talking about it 20 years later. So
the tight pants concert.
So there was an edit after that. I made a little edit. I'm like, okay, maybe for the next session I'll wear
shorts.
Exactly.
Shorts.
Exactly. Shorts. But then it's funny how the fashion in the hip hop world is now that it's completely cycled around, and now it's actually cycling out again.
Yeah.
But they were wearing what I was wearing, you know.
Yeah, they started
Never
wearing
mind,
the skinny
guys.
jeans later, the Miris and and then you're moving on.
Wait, Stu, you just had a mental. You hit a hurdle in your mind there. What happened? Now you're struggling down the track.
No, okay.
Never mind, guys.
He clipped a hurdle. We enjoyed talking about your tight pants. There's
There's
nothing wrong with that.
I do wonder with people like you and Alec who smoke a lot of pot, and I wonder if I should have started. No, this is a serious point I want to make. That is, there's so much going on in your mind
Right now?
You have to just sort of put a dampener on it like you would on a speaker that's too loud. Because I'm thinking, like, had I gotten into this when I was 14, maybe I would have more contentment or more ease of operation in my daily life. And so when you hit these hurdles still, like if you went off everything, would you be overwhelmed?
You mean like if I went off of weed, say?
Yeah, like if you just like your mind unaltered, what is that? Is it too much?
No, I did 10 years of like totally sober. But then like through the pandemic, I got into edibles a little deeper and then got into more smoking into the evening. And then actually only like in February this year, I started smoking in the morning and it was like, fuck,
You're like, this is cool.
this is fun. And then I went to like
it's
a
the best.
coffee shop like at 1:00 in the afternoon. It was like, my friend brought a joint. I was like, really? And I was like, okay, let's do it. And it was like the best coffee hang ever. Like, so I don't know. I think I'm a little tired of stuff like business,
your
music
mind
business.
does go,
I'm
yeah.
tired of this shit. And actually,
Yes.
I in October I had a neck spasm that went totally haywire until I couldn't even feel my fucking hand.
You were here.
I was
Goldie, for that.
terrified. I was terrified. And yeah, Janice was the best, taking care of me. I was on ice like 6 hour. Yeah. Like,
It was a nightmare.
then I got Lexapro and the Lexapro cured the fucking neck.
That's so insane.
And then the weed kind of came in a little after that. But I've been high for a bit. So it's like
love
5 months now. And I think the Lexapro is also part of it. Like it's allowing me to be uninhibited. Especially by what I'm noticing, I blurt things out a lot too. But
That's good. 'Cause
Blurter.
I'm blurting.
Paul Blurt.
Paul Blurt. Mall cop. Blurt cop.
Yeah. So yeah, I think I do yoga and I do meditation to like try to slow down my mind a bit. But like the hyper creativity is the side effect of the weed, I think, which is what I am welcoming at this time.
Yeah, Goldy, you didn't miss anything. We would have ended up at the same place anyway. It wouldn't have mattered. The weed,
I feel like it would all be a net nothing.
Yeah, 100%.
I would just have
Nothing.
I would have lateral problems. They wouldn't
Yeah.
be the same, but they would be of the same order of magnitude.
Well, it's also different because we don't have kids, so there's
I
like
could check out.
yeah, we can.
So I have to say, my kids are at a camp for 2
Yes.
weeks. So my wife and I had our first night with no one in the house in I don't know how long.
Yeah.
And it was weird. Like we were like, should we go to Trader Joe's? And we went to Trader Joe's together, which we never do because someone's
really
always
cute.
home.
Yeah.
And we were just hanging out, and it was like, oh, yeah,
This is what it was
is
like.
way easier.
Yeah.
Okay, honey, I'll be in that room for a while.
See what it's like alone in that room.
Hey, remember when Goldy came over and like the first thing he did was sat down and he was like,
Yes.
so tranquil. And
Yeah.
that was it. I was like, oh, damn. Yeah. So those are our moments when you leave and Janice and I are like high-fiving for having no kids.
You can come over anytime and spend 2 hours with my kids. And get
I'd
a
love
dose
to.
of it.
We'd love
Yeah,
to.
we would love to because
I'd love to meet all your families. Yeah,
we love
because you guys
families.
are family. It's been what? You're on 170 episodes or something? Come on.
51. You're 151.
Okay, sorry, I jumped in.
151.
That's
I'm
okay.
151?
Yeah.
Dang.
You are.
Yeah.
Yeah, say that backwards. It doesn't matter.
So Janice, how many hours do you spend on the podcast a week, like editing and stuff?
Oh,
Like-
seven or eight.
7.
It's back. It's
That's a
7 or
lot.
8. Yeah.
I'm trying to do the edits in my head now, so
Okay.
that I'm not
Me
presenting
too.
you such a problem.
You do. You do.
Listen to me. I'm doing the math too. So this is where we're going. So you say 7 hours times 150.
Ooh, that's 1,057.
No, it's 1,050.
Okay.
Look at him.
And
Jesus.
all right.
Oh, I thought you were adding it up. I thought someone was on a calculator.
Oh, I'm just
Janice,
watching you dance.
Janice, you're the producer.
It's fine. I got the dance in. That's
I'm
there's
not
our
looking
Boy,
at
answer.
you really kind of dance. You do what I would call a vertical trump. Like he puts his arms in front of him, but you hold yours up. But it's the same dance he does to YMCA.
Oh.
1,057.
Yeah.
Okay,
Thanks
yes,
for
yes.
looping me in with him.
Trump.
Yeah, so you touched on it a few minutes ago, but let's go back to revisit the magical origin story of Janice and Stu. So you guys met in college.
Jew.
Jew. That's their nickname.
Yeah, Stannis and Jew.
That's
our
really
friend
going to
Nicole,
catch on this year.
our friend Nicole
Stannis and
calls
Jew.
us Stannis and Jew. And I think our
Stannis
friend
Baratheon.
Z-Trip calls us Stannis. He has like there's a track.
Stannis was like the most joyless character on Game of Thrones. And in a show with 1,000 joyless characters, Stannis was by far the most
That's the name.
joyless.
Oh my God,
that
that's
true?
hilarious.
Yeah, it is true. Never a smile, not once.
That.
But tell us, so you guys met at Berkeley
We did.
School
We
of
did.
Music in Boston.
That's right.
Not that hippie revolutionary place out in California.
Right.
Right.
So give us around what year did you guys meet? And you said you started as friends. How did that friendship develop?
It was like 98, right? Early 98 or late 97?
We don't know. I think it's early 90s, late 97 or early 98.
Okay. So what
so-
song
We
was
met-
topping the charts?
It was
I
like
like that.
Mariah Carey or something.
Yeah, I'm sure something terrible.
We met on the bandstand, right?
Yeah. In South Norwalk,
in
Connecticut.
Yeah, South Norwalk, Connecticut. Real like clubby club,
Club
one of those
Liquid.
like bouncers. Yeah, Club Liquid.
Yeah.
But they had like live band night, and we had a weekly there, and then our singer couldn't make it, so Janice subbed in.
Yeah, like,
and,
I didn't know these people. I took a
And,
train down.
And so when JC got up in front of you guys, did she turn to you before the show and said, "All right, guys, we built this city in C on me. 1, 2, 3,
It
4."
was kind of like that.
That's right.
But it was
That's right.
more like 70s, 80s funk kind of, right?
Yeah, Janice and I really connected on
The songs I brought in.
or shared interests in repertoire.
Yeah.
Now you were
But,
friends. You were friends
no.
for a while, but were you
No.
that first night when she was in the band and she's there singing for you? Were you looking at her like, "Oh boy"?
Oh, I just remember really liking her, and she was cute, and she's beautiful. But I mean, I had my girlfriend there that night, actually.
Oh,
Yeah, his
visiting
girlfriend
from
was there.
Toronto.
Intrigue.
And his sister.
And I was being professional, and my sister was in town, and I
Yeah.
think the guitar player's girlfriend was in town, who's also from Southern Ontario,
Yeah.
and then the keyboardist. This is a little side note, okay?
Side
The
note
keyboardist, he has a Rhodes. He plays the Rhodes, all right, and the Rhodes is like fucking 200 pounds. It's a great sounding thing, but he asked me for some reason to take care of it, like get it to the gig for him.
Oh god.
Okay, what are you talking about, dude?
Yeah, that's
Anyway,
your
so
keyboard.
I never did that. I don't think that
he
happened.
did ask you, actually. I think you just
And,
got gaslit, but
Yeah. And then so anyway, the gig didn't go so well because the keyboardist didn't have his keyboard, and he was a key player, and especially in the repertoire. And so he sat by the bar moping the whole time. Janice and I are like figuring out what songs to play, and it's just me and the guitar player and the drummer. The drummer was terrible, but it was his gig.
Right.
And he's definitely not listening because he's ignorant. And but he got shit from the manager of the
yeah.
club at the end of the night, and we're all waiting in the car while we have to drive back to Boston from South Norwalk at like 2 a.m. And he's trying to get paid, and he's getting shit from the club manager, and he's like comes back and he's like, "Stu, you're fired." He decided to take it on me because I didn't bring a Rhodes to the fucking gig. This is the only time I've ever been fired from a gig in my life, by the way.
yeah.
Right.
It wasn't even your fault.
And so he's like, "You're fired." He took it out on me, and I said in my flash of improvising genius, I said, "Too bad I'll never get to fire you because I'd never hire you in the first place."
Yes, got him.
And then,
Canada slam.
And then I felt, and I was like, I called the next day and I was like, "Sorry."
Canadian regret.
No, he ended up hiring me like the next week, but But he blamed Janice, but then Janice ended up dating the motherfucking keyboardist who was at the bar.
JC.
Yeah, for like 4 years.
Whoa.
No.
3 years.
That's a lot of
Maybe
roads
2.
carrying.
Maybe.
Okay, 2 years. 2 years. All right, Janice, I'm sorry.
I'm embarrassed.
Oh, but,
No, but,
what did you expect when you opened Pandora's box, JC? Not a moment like this. Come on.
Okay, listen,
that was a light jab.
In her in her defense, I was like 18 or 19 and she
You're
was
19, yeah.
24, 25.
Ooh.
I'm 6 years
And-
older than Stu is.
Yeah, and
I know.
I got her. Well, you know, I won the lottery. I won the fucking lottery with Janice.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Oh,
but I
look at
got to
that.
give her a little hard time about that though.
Yeah,
6 years later, I started dating her. You know, and that guy, I think he's like in the Gillette family. That guy, she knew what she was doing.
Colgate.
Oh,
Colgate.
okay.
Or something.
I love it. Did he have nice
All
teeth
right.
as well?
I think so.
No.
Right? No, he says no. I don't remember.
He had no smile.
That's
He
true.
had no soul.
Hey, stop.
I just remember his forehead on the roads, like during a rehearsal. I'm like,
here he
dude, wake
goes.
up, bro.
I mean, it must be, you know, if you're in a band, it must be reassuring to know that you have the toothpaste money to fall back on.
Yeah,
I know.
that's true.
That's so awesome.
I hate that. I hate that. That's probably why he's not really a musician anymore, because he didn't have that drive that was like
Yeah,
that
good.
The
He was
hunger.
right not
thing,
to.
like- Man, like Dub Trio, my band Dub Trio, we would hit the road. We'd fucking play in Slovenia, like normal Slovenia for 200 people. And it would be like we're playing like our life depended on it. Like
Yeah.
And it
like
did.
for real. And
Yeah.
it does. It still does.
Well, it's an interesting coincidence because I think this podcast also plays in Slovenia for 200 people.
Less than that.
That qualifies
Come
us to
on.
be like number 78.
I think that's an inflation in numbers, bro. I think
You're right. Canada Slam. I'll expect a call tomorrow. An apology.
Sorry.
All right. Well, all right. We got into how you guys met. And then, you became friends. And so what is that like? Are you guys just seeing each other every day? Did you have classes together?
No. We ended up, she ended up majoring in music production and engineering and was like on the scene in the studios there. And we became very good friends, all of us with her. I mean, everybody loves
Inseparable.
JC.
And you.
So then she ended up working with the band and then touring with us.
Yeah, I was the front of house
Moving-
mixer for his band.
Yes, right. So she's
And what band was this?
Dub Trio?
Dub Trio.
It was proto Dub Trio. It was called Actual Proof, and it was with Dub Trio's guitar player and his older brother on vocals, and this guy Ryan on keys, and this guy Deontay Parks on drums, who notably
drummer.
joined Mars Volta later and is like one
Plays
of the
with Sade
great,
and-
one of the greats. You know,
he's
he's
incredible.
insane. He's amazing.
That's awesome.
But then we moved down to New York as a crew. He moved off. We then hired auditioned one guy and it ended up being Joe Tomino from Dub Trio,
this
who
is like
wrote
the
rhythm
best-
section.
So when you're in a
for
band
25
like
years
that,
since
are
then.
you getting together every day and rehearsing and writing, or is it more you're
Man,
trying to focus on let's go to Slovenia and make some fans, make some money? Like,
Yeah,
bring us in the world a little bit. 'cause
Sure.
it's
At that
fascinating.
time, I had just moved to New York and with Janice as part of a little crew. And we continued the band with the new drummer. We were rehearsing at like 2 blocks from the World Trade Center down on like, I think it was Walker, every like 3 times a week or 4 times a week. And we're writing music. And then there's like showcases at Mercury Lounge or at a fucking label office and just like hustling that. And the singer was kind of the front man. It was his band really. And so the rhythm section broke off and did some instrumental stuff, just keep playing and developing.
And do you have day
Also-
jobs during this, or are you just doing this?
Yeah, I had a day job at that time. And
Wait, let me
not-
guess. Bike
and not.
messenger.
No, I was working at a restaurant next to a venue. This is before I quit drinking, so I was working at a bar.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're a barback.
But when I quit, I was a bar back at what is now the
Galaxy?
Fillmore. Yeah, it's the Film or Irving Plaza.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's still Irving Plaza. Yeah. And then I quit. You know that I was terrible at that job. And then I was just like I had my rock bottom in 2001, right after 9/11. We had a rehearsal on 9/11, like 2 blocks from the buildings, and we never went back. You know, and that was
So were you there to see everything, or
Janice and I were in Brooklyn separately, but we could see it from Brooklyn, and I never went back to that rehearsal space again.
But you were supposed to be there, and luckily you were not.
We were supposed to be there at 11 a.m. rehearsal. That morning, I was there at like 2 in the morning with Dave
because his birthday.
It's his birthday, yeah.
Yeah.
So we were drinking, and then 3 months later, I quit drinking and sort of took things under my own, took control of my life. And then this rhythm section branched off from the singer, and we started getting some attention. And then around New York, like we were just doing Brooklyn shows, like residencies in Brooklyn and Manhattan. And then, we got a record deal.
So is the vibe then sort of the Strokes and, that type of thing was
at
like
time?
what everyone was going
2004 in Williamsburg.
Exactly that, yes.
Yeah. And we were doing dub and
metal.
experimental. Yeah, well, back
What
then
is
we were
dub
doing,
for the uninitiated?
at that time we started out as like an ambient, electronic influenced guitar, bass, and drums trio. Very Robert Fripp, ambient, Brian Eno. And what we would do is take elements of dub music and incorporate it into different styles, whatever style. So dub is really a process that was born in the studio, in the audio engineers realm, mixing realm in Jamaica in the late 60s and early 70s. And King Tubby is known as the godfather of dub. And he would it's kind of like the birth of the remix. Like the first remixes that ever happened were basically in this format, where they would take the files on tape and group them into sections like drums, bass, guitar, organ, vocals, horns, and percussion or something like that. And then they'd basically turn everything down, turn up the bass, turn up the drums, mute the vocals, and showcase their sound system.
Right.
Like in the back of like in a parking lot or something, And the sound system was the big flex, and the mix was like the big flex. Right. And people would be dancing, and it'd be a party. And then it became an art form, just like rearranging in live on a mixing desk, a new arrangement of that song that is probably a hit song. Everybody knows it, but the vocals are gone. And then they'll pop in like a word and throw delays and reverbs on it and effects. And this is like the beginning of remixes.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's cool. Is it sort of like a cousin of punk? Not that they sound alike, but in that they both seem to have this kind of guerrilla attitude.
Yeah, I think that is there's a connection there with UK punk and Jamaica and like the Specials
and Canada, by the way.
And Canada, there's a huge West Indian population in Canada.
That's the triangle.
Yeah. So anyway, the way I got into dub was because, sort of a backwards way, I got into jungle and drum and bass, which is kind of coming from the UK, but especially like Square Pusher and, a bunch of artists from the late 90s. I'd say Goldy is one of them.
Goldie.
Oh, Goldy.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You had a great career. Here comes the bald step.
But I was like, where does that come? Here comes the balls.
I quit.
That's so good. Aini Kamosi. Wait, is that Aini Kamosi?
Yes,
Yeah, it is.
is.
Oh, you bet.
Amazing,
You betcha.
dude. Good quote, bro.
Thanks.
So I went backwards. Like I was like, where are these jungle beats coming from? And it was like from dub. So my guy gave me a cassette tape of King Tubby meets Rockers Uptown. And then I just got obsessed. And then like right after that, I joined this dub and Afrobeat band and went on tour with the Wailers. And the Bob Marley and the Wailers.
Yeah.
I learned how to play. Like it changed my life. I was already like, I was just watching those guys like glue. I was watching them like glue.
You're watching them like glue.
This is something I wanted to ask you is,
Thank
as someone who, when I go to a concert and I'm, I have various stages of awareness and focus of what's going on stage, and you're experiencing it from the other way. Obviously, you're looking outwards. How much are people fucking up? Like never, not at all, or all the time, or somewhere in between?
That's a good question.
It really depends. Like I worked for an artist named Dominic Fike,
Woo.
and we just played Bonnaroo a couple days ago, and Governor's
Shirtless,
Ball in New York.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I put on an extra shirt on stage.
Sorry, go on.
It was 98 degrees, and there's a
the
stylist
shade.
there that was encouraging me. So
You looked amazing.
it was fun.
Anyway,
it
go
was
on.
really fun. But like that band, we rehearse a lot.
Yeah.
And
So the mistakes were few.
yeah. All the parts are very planned. There's little
does the music that okay, so I would describe myself as a basic bitch musically. Like I love a lot of music, but I definitely end up with the Beatles and the Eagles and Led Zeppelin. But I mean, I love Radiohead. Is there any very mainstream music that you listen to and you're like, oh, that's fucking awesome? Did you ever get into like, oh, fuck, you know, While My Guitar Gently Weeps, that's just a fucking great song? Or, you know, is there any kind of really big commercial music that did it for you?
Yeah.
It's a good question.
You liked Pearl Jam, Soundgarden. Those are Nine Inch Nails.
But that's, again, they had an edge to them. I mean, they're commercially huge, absolutely. Okay. But they also, that was at a time when this grunge identity, which was a little bit cooler than, say, like the Eagles' Take It Easy.
Right.
You know,
yeah, it's a good question. It's tough because I was big into Nine Inch Nails and Soundgarden and stuff like that. But then when they became mainstream, I was just
not interested anymore.
Turned off a little bit.
Yeah. So do you think that's something about you and the way that you kind of grew up, where you have a kind of fuck the establishment attitude, and like if all these idiots are listening to, you know, obviously like Britney Spears or something like that, I think we can all agree that that's not great. But even stuff,
Britney Spears,
it's Britney, bitch. But I mean, if there's stuff like Elton John or, you know, things that a lot of people like, or Billy Joel, are you just like, fuck that?
I love Elton John.
Oh,
like,
there you go.
All that stuff is like, all the classic stuff is, I respect it and I love it. You know, I think I like to push things forward, you know, so I lose interest in things that are
safe,
become mainstream, I think.
Yeah.
But maybe, so if it is mainstream and it's new to me, I'll definitely research it and I will sometimes be amazed. There's so many things out there. There's so much interesting new music and there's so much access to it. And there's so many pockets of mainstream too. Like when I first met Dominic Fike, I had no idea who he was, but he had like 20 million monthly listeners on Spotify.
Yeah. Well, you're not supposed to talk about Fight Club.
Fight Club. Sorry. Janice will edit this out.
He had the exact right reaction to that joke.
He's
just
like,
a kind of slow repeat.
Fight Club.
And then one noise.
Like a nose breath.
I saw you laugh, Goldy. You're lucky this is radio.
I was wondering about this before, like how my energy is going to tip the balance with your usual energy.
No, it's good.
I came in on a 10. Remember you said?
That's a 10 for him.
Yeah, you're right. A point 10.
And I was thinking about that, like while holding my razor, like, should I shave before I do this?
It's unbelievable to me that you feel like you're unshaved right now. You've got the ultimate baby face. It's
He really does.
So smooth. Well, let's talk for a minute about, because you have helped out this podcast in a great way. Every time when our fans listen and turn this podcast on, it's your song, Sound the Alarm. Yeah. And tell me about this, because I believe you wrote this song and you perform in it and you produced it. Is that correct?
This is all true. Yeah.
Take your time.
Where did it all begin?
Well, you had a record. You were making a record.
A record.
I was making a hit record.
Record industry. Yeah, but making a record.
No, Janice has been real tight with Patrick Stump from Fall Out Boy.
Right.
Since like 2005 or 6.
Yeah,
she was on
2005.
Warped Tour doing
I was
2005.
voice coaching Motion City Soundtrack on tour with him.
Right. And like you just became friends with him in like line at catering or something like that.
Because we were studying with the
started
same
talking.
teacher.
Oh, right.
So he and I exchanged numbers and then hung out and then stayed in touch ever since.
Right. Like pen pals. And then like anytime he was in New York, he'd invite you out and you guys have dinner or some hangs or whatever. Over the years, often I would be away. But you know, it's a really sweet friendship that they have. And eventually I was just like, bruh. I was like, bruh. No, I said, it was during the pandemic. I think it was 2020. Right before the pandemic, I had made this rhythm track and it was just an instrumental. And like through the spring of 2020, I think I sent it to him and he had time luckily and like put guitars on it, over delivered guitars. Yeah. He played sax and trumpet.
He played so many fucking things.
And did you have the lyrics or was it just a piece?
He wrote all the lyrics. It was only instrumental.
And the melody.
I'd made the form, like I made like the verse, chorus, bridge, chorus. And basically that was it. And then he made it happen,
Yeah, it was-
man. And
Is that commonly how stuff comes together, or is it more typical that one person sort of comes in and has the melody and then everyone augments that person's idea?
Well, sure, if you're Glenn Fry.
It's different.
really,
Good reference.
Really,
It's different.
I knew Stu would love that.
It's different.
I just like how you like to razz him. You like to razz Goldy.
I don't get enough chances. He gets plenty on
I know.
me.
I know.
Just ask
Thanks.
my dad.
Yeah, there's an unbiased source. Guy's dad thinks he gets razzed too much.
Daddy. Headline.
Yeah. What was the question?
Oh, yeah.
But
So
how these songs come together typically?
yeah.
Is it one person or is
totally-
it more that
Yeah, it totally depends on the band dynamic, you know.
And the artist.
And the artist. There's so many.
Producer.
It's infinite. It could happen in infinite combinations of ways. But I'd say, like in respect to dub trio, like the guitar player would come in with a riff, and then we'd extrapolate. Like,
yeah.
you know, like
Yep.
I'd be good at making a counter thing for the verse. Like he'd do the main riff, and I'd be like, okay, well here, let's break this down and do a different version of that. But okay, you know, so it's like a collaborative sense like that. But
Right.
other times, like if I'm producing something, a song, I'll get some composition credit through production because like as over time it morphs, you know,
Right.
and like it's arguable how you get credit because it depends on your relationship, but like you can't really copyright drums necessarily legally.
Yeah.
That's
So
kind of a fuck you to the drummers.
it's a thing.
It's
Yeah.
that is a thing. Like Steve Gadd on 50 Ways to Leave Your Lover.
Boom.
Yeah.
He was trying to get writing credit, but by law you don't need to because they didn't write a melody,
Wow.
even
You're
though
right.
that's
There are so many
significant-
songs where the drumming is like the
Signature.
featured
That is
sound.
the song. Yeah.
I mean, one way to leave your lover, I would say, would be to swallow something phallic, Alec.
See, Dad. See what he does to me, Dad.
I don't think he likes you very much.
That Goldy. Yeah. All right. So.
Fall on your facey, Casey.
Oh boy, them's fighting words.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's many different ways the songs can come together. It's tough for drummers to copyright stuff.
Right. And when I'm here in this room, I make a lot of and Goldie, you've been here. We hung
Yeah,
out and
it's
played
awesome.
a bit. And thanks, buddy. Like there's a lot of toys, gizmos, and I'll make a drone track and then start building off of that and have an experience making music. Record
When I was
it.
there, Stu, you were on the floor like a spider, hitting buttons,
incredible.
tweaking things, playing some notes, sampling, running
Yeah.
it back, and
He'll
I was
be like, and he'll hand me a bass and be like, "Here, play this," and then I'll just
Yes.
start playing something, and then he turns it into something, and it's
Yeah,
just
it was
so
very
incredible.
That's a musical person.
Yeah.
You know, a while ago on this podcast, I'm wondering if you watched the Beatles Get Back documentary.
Yeah,
With Janice. And because in particular, we highlighted one moment that was crazy to all of us, which was the moment where Paul sits down with his bass and they're in dire need of a single. And it seemingly kind of wills to life the song Get Back just by
Yeah.
messing around on his bass. What did you think of that moment? And is that like something that you've seen happen before, or does that happen to you?
Great question. Paul McCartney is a completely different kind of musician than I am, I'd say. He's a singer-songwriter, and he happens to play bass like
oh, God.
beautifully,
Yeah.
and is like one of my favorites. And it's because I think the way he is able to have that kind of counterpoint between vocals and a melodic part on bass, plus like just holding down the foundation as well.
Yeah.
And so he's starting with the foundation on that in that scene with the bass, and then he starts just kind of riffing with his vocals. I don't even sing. So I mean, I'll sing backgrounds and stuff. I love to sing. I don't listen to lyrics that much, you know.
you and Eddie Van Halen.
I'm very
Ooh.
selective. I'm very selective with what lyrics I listen to. I mean, they have to grab me, I guess.
Yeah.
And
You like heartbreak.
so I'm listening to vowels and consonants and sounds.
Do you
Right,
can you give an example of a song where the lyrics have affected you?
Yeah. It's Bad Bad Not Good and Baby Rose, and it's just beautiful.
Who's that?
It's a new song. It's a new song. Bad Bad Not Good's a Canadian rhythm section, and they sound like some classic like Stax record.
Oh, cool.
Right.
Oh, is that the stuff we were playing the other day?
Yeah, and it's If You Never See Me Again, I think it's called.
Amazing.
Right.
It's stunning.
We mentioned a little earlier because you've been very generous with your time, as we tell all our guests.
Yes.
And we know you are joining us for Top 5 coming up, but I wanted to wrap up with just a couple of thoughts here. First of all, tell us about your single that dropped today. Tell people where they can get it, what it's called, and what it means to you.
Okay. Thanks for asking. All right, so the song that came out today is called New West Order by Fever 333.
Yeah.
And I played bass on it and synth and did all the drum programming and stuff like that.
Produced
And
it.
you probably
in
had
2020.
to get some big name singer, right?
Well, we needed some badass vocals on it, so I recruited Janice. I went upstairs and said, Janice, can you lay down some of these vocals?
JC and Stu, I love it.
Yeah,
really
I'm
special.
Okay, this is the highlight for me. I'm very proud
Me
of
too.
my wife. She sounds so good. And she does.
Thanks.
And the video actually comes out today too. New West Order. You can see it on YouTube. I know that, but it's on like Spotify and
The
all
funniest thing about this
DSPs,
video, can we say this, is that they
What about
hired, they basically, who was that singer in the 90s? She was like a big, larger black singer, and they would get like a skinny woman on video.
Oh, yeah. Everybody Dance Now.
Yeah.
That's that woman.
So they basically kind of did that to me, where they hired all these models for the music
Oh, wow.
video, and
Whoa.
It's not-
that,
no,
that
no.
didn't sing. And so
Have
it's
you
like,
seen the video yet, though, sweetie?
well, I saw the angle of the camera, and that
Okay.
I'm definitely not
I saw
featured.
I saw it right before we
Okay.
are recording here, and you look beautiful, and
Okay,
it's
I'm in it?
respectful. He doesn't like
I guess so.
exploit. He does not exploit you guys at all. Like it's like
That's fine.
neck up, and you guys look cool, and it's on
Right.
the beach
But the other
at night.
Women
and
do not
it's brief.
sing on this song, but there's
That's
like
true,
four
but it sounds
other
like
women.
yeah,
Four
it sounds
other
like a
women.
group. Yeah, it's true. It's true.
It's
But,
weird, but
I'm
it's
not
sweet.
against it. It's,
Now listen, Janice cusses in this.
Yeah.
it's good.
Wow.
I do. I swear.
It's good.
And the single,
She
you'll
said-
be like, "Oh my god!"
It's so good. It's so good.
I'll send it to you guys. I'll
hear
send
it in
to
a
you.
car
She had to
ride.
act a
It
little.
was great.
You did?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
She had to
kick-ass.
act a little bit, you know? She had to put on a little character.
I
She's
did.
ready for her close up. She's ready. Are you
And that's
kidding me?
when
All right. So, well, I hope that all you fans will go
I have a-
download that.
Yes, and I want to do a quick new segment. Can we do that? We
Yeah.
have time for this. I want to
Please.
do this thing. We're going to come up with a name, but it's called like a quick questions
round,
speed
lightning
round. All right, are you ready for this, Stu?
no.
Okay. No, they're very simple questions. Okay. Favorite color?
Blue.
Favorite athlete?
Jose Canseco.
How fast you were there.
Poolside or mountainside?
Mountainside.
Okay. Hotel or cabin?
Cabin.
Best decade is?
Fuck. I think the 90s.
Okay. Favorite animal?
Dog.
I come from a long line of
Cartographers.
career you'd choose if you weren't a musician.
Philanthropy.
Wow.
No, I'm just kidding. Because I'm so goddamn rich.
I wish. Okay. Favorite artist, band, or song you're listening to right now?
McGee.
Yes. Everyone check out
song?
this band.
And it's a guy.
It's a guy, McGee, whatever. His band is awesome. Just check him out.
Oh,
This
yeah.
artist is great.
All of his stuff, yeah.
Okay, and
McGee, yeah, you guys would love it.
Yeah. Okay, this is the last question, and this doesn't define you. This is just today how you are feeling. It is I am blank.
God. An undying burning flame of hate.
Great job.
Yes, you matched our energy. So, JC,
I love
what-
the segment, JC, and I also
thank you.
just want to put out there that it feels like you're just trolling for birthday gifts,
No.
just
I knew there
collecting
was
data
something.
for some kind of like surprise
some
you're planning.
ulterior
but,
motive.
Yeah.
And I
And
will
guess-
say a couple things. I like this game a lot.
I'm going to do it every guest.
I think next time you do it, you should include us. Like do it with me and Goldy too, so we have a chance to answer these questions. And
No.
I will just say poolside, mountainside, inside. That's where I would inside. And also, if not including us, definitely add a lightning and thunder sound effect at the beginning and end.
No, we'll come
yeah.
up with a song.
I think
we'll
we
come
should
up
do
with
a
a
song.
A song?
Yeah,
Ooh,
we'll do a
okay.
harmonizing thing, I think. But
Wasn't there lightning crashes or lightning? What was that band? Crash.
you know a lot of
live.
music.
It's live.
Live.
Let's move along.
All right, yeah, let's move it along. Okay,
But
so-
timers are good too. Little
Yeah, like
timer.
we
Yeah.
could, okay.
All right.
Anyway.
It's time for a portion of the show that we like to call Top 5. Top 5. Beautiful. JC, this was you. Start us off.
All right, top 5 game shows.
Yes.
Okay, great. So my number 5 is Project Runway. I haven't watched it in a long time, but I loved that show. I don't even know if it's still on. Number 4, this one is so old. I only watched like reruns of it, but I'm sure they've tried to bring it back. It's called To Tell the Truth, where they had like one person who was like fake, real, then everything was fake. Okay, number 3 was a local New York game show that went national called Cash Cab, which I loved.
Yeah,
that
was good. I
was
liked
such
that.
an awesome game.
I think we know someone who was on that.
No, we knew the host was a comic.
That makes sense. He was good. Number 2, also a game when it originally aired. It was old, but I love this game. Name That Tune.
Yeah. Great.
And then my number 1 is Jeopardy. Come
yeah.
on. But with
okay,
Alec.
Overlap.
Alec
overlap.
Trebek. Alex
Overlap.
Trebek? Is it Alex or Alec Trebek?
Alex.
Oh.
Yeah.
Alex.
From Sudbury.
Canada.
I thought it was Hamilton.
That's right.
He's not from Hamilton?
All right, Stu, take it away.
All right. So I thought those were very interesting answers.
Oh,
Jess.
thanks, sweetheart.
My top 5 is like probably super basic because I wanted it to go with my personal experience.
Yes,
So,
of course.
so I went with number 5, Survivor, because I think of the cultural impact that it had, and I was kind of fascinated by that. You know, number 4, American Idol,
Ooh,
season
yes.
1, 2. You know, I'm talking about like early seasons. You know, because
That's good.
sucks. But yeah, and just that was fascinating. You know,
It was.
and as a kid, Price is Right. I think it was on at noon every day.
Totally.
Like lunch break, and then Jeopardy, Family.
Woo, yes.
Watching Jeopardy, I can't get any answers or questions or whatever. And then Wheel of Fortune, I'm really
You're
good at Wheel of
so
Fortune.
good
I
at
love
this.
it, and
It's
it's fun.
crazy.
And I challenge anybody.
Yeah, I love when people say they're good at Wheel of Fortune. It's like, I'm really good at checkers.
No,
You
but
know
come
that?
on.
Hey, dude, come
And
on
remember
now.
Kim Furtman's husband was on Wheel of Fortune and he won?
Oh, really?
He's like doing the rounds. He's doing these game shows. I think he was also on Pyramid or Password. or
Our
something.
good friend Steve Callahan was on Wheel of Fortune and lost, and it's very funny to watch. All right, I'm gonna race through mine. They're very basic. Number 5 was an 80s game show called Press Your Luck, which I
No
loved.
whammies, no
The
whammies.
whammies, and that one guy who was able to game the system. And,
Yeah, that was
and
good. I watched
It was
that.
great. Number 4, I loved the Hollywood Squares.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny. Yes.
Coming
yes,
back.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good. I mean, it won't be as good, but
No.
it was good back then. Number 3, Jeopardy. This is Jeopardy. Number 2, maybe the greatest game show theme song in my mind was the $25,000 Pyramid.
Oh, nice.
Loved that
yes,
show.
Yes.
Could watch that all the time. And number 1, it's Chalk. The Price is Right. I mean, that was just, it was there for me every day when you were
Totally.
sick or faking being sick. It was there.
There for you. Aw.
Goldie, go ahead.
I only have 2 monkey wrenches, and the first is my number 5, my big fat obnoxious boss, which was Fox's parody of The Apprentice, but these people thought they were on The Apprentice and competing for $1 million, but it was all fake. It was amazing if you can find it. Number 4, Jeopardy.
Yes.
Number 3 was Deal or No Deal in its heyday.
That's a
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
So exciting.
I
when
agree.
It came out. Number 2, Price is Right. That's Chalk.
Nice.
Number 1, this is the big curveball. I gotta go with Alone, where the people are dropped off in the tundra and
Wow.
just have to survive for as long as they
I've
can.
never even
It is
heard of
Love
that.
amazing.
Love that show. It's on Hulu. You can watch all of them. It's great.
That's incredible.
That's a great list. Great topic, JC. Now, Goldie, tell us what we got next week.
Top 5 biggest regrets.
oh.
Jesus Christ.
Regrets? Not even one?
I've had a few.
Yep.
All right, Stu,
Rob Rentz.
thank you so much for
Yes,
being with us
Stu.
here today. A successful
You're the
canary
best.
in the coal mine.
We
proud
should
of you.
have you back at some point and just do an episode of road concert stories.
We
then
would
we won't
love
have
that.
to tackle the whole background. We can just talk
That's
music.
We'll talk
I'd
stories.
love to come back. Guys, thanks so much for having me.
You're the
Thank
best.
you for being here.
The best.
And next week we are guestless. It's just the three of us, and we're gonna talk about whatever the hell we want
Yeah.
next week. So tune in for that. But for today, thank you, Stu.
Thanks,
Thank you all
Stu.
for listening. Thank you two for being awesome.
Thank
and we
you.
will talk to you again next week.
Next what?
Typical disgusting display.
That was fun.
And it stops right now.
Mount Cushmore.
Mount Killim on brain cells.
Yeah, so you like working with my wife, eh?
Bam! Canada Slam.
I'm embarrassed.
Here comes the bald stepper.